back to another edition of Vera's View, where I run down Raw and SmackDown with my wins and fails. This week we're going to start off with SmackDown Live. Let's get right down to it. My first fail is Dolph Ziggler versus Bobby Roode. I just found this match was far too short for a 2 out of 3 falls match, and also I'm really sad to watch Dolph and the direction that he seems to be plummeting in. Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin doing a weird rap thing with the Usos was a super fail for me this week, although I did enjoy the old self-high five. Had to, give props to that one. My wins start off with Shane McMahon announcing that he will be team captain of SmackDown at Survivor Series. I'm enjoying the whole tease of Kurt versus Shane that they're doing. The New Day was a big win for me this week. They were dressed up as Jimmy Hart, Akeem, and Brother Love. Now, my question is, can you do red face? Is that okay? Like, are we offending people? I'm just wondering. I got a great chuckle out of that. I also love Natalia's little line where she tells Becky to settle her tea kettle. Natalia's doing some of her best work right now. I just love her as a heel. I love her dominating SmackDown Live, and yeah, keep it coming. Fashion Files is my last win for SmackDown, but I'm going to go into some good detail about it because I loved it this week. It was Stranger Things themed, and I love Stranger Things. It was chapter 26, The Right Side Up. Fandango is dressed up as Hopper. Tyler Breeze is dressed up as 11. It opens up with Fandango, feeding an Eggo into a tent, and the hand comes out and takes it. When he turns around, there's Tyler Breeze. He's like, 11. If you're here, then who's in the tent? And Tyler Breeze says, probably the Ascension. They ruin everything. I laugh so hard. The poor Ascension, they've also been just going down the toilet. And then we have a really great little moment when we see Connor of the Ascension come out dressed as Barb, and Fandango's like, sweet Winona Ryder, what are you? And he's like, I'm Barb. Just died. Barb lives matter. Ty Dillinger then comes out of the tent, and he's also dressed as 11, and they're like, another 11, and he's like, no, I'm a 10. I was just like, ugh. The little things make me chuckle. Anyway, then he takes the Eggos from Tyler Breeze, and Tyler Breeze is like, no, my Uggos. Yeah, they call them Uggos, and they actually had the box made to say Uggos, so that was really great. And then I liked when Connor was back on, and the, fake canes behind him, and he's like, I'm about to get barbed, aren't I? So funny. Best Fashion Files I've done in a while, for sure. Moving over to Raw, my first fail is sadly Alexa Bliss and her little comment about Mae Young. They're talking about replacing Mickie James against her, and she says, you know what, you can take anybody from the Mae Young Classic. In fact, you could just dig up Mae, and I'm like, ouch, I don't know. I know Mae Young was such a good sport. The woman gave birth to a hand on, television in front of millions of people, but it just didn't sit right with me. I know she probably would have laughed it off, but I didn't like it. My last fail for Raw was Braun Strowman coming out of the garbage truck. I really hated this segment. I hated the way it was filmed. I hated the way, The Miz and the Miz Taraj did their acting was so bad. The camera angles, everything about it was junk. Also, it's really stupid. They were, trapped inside this limousine, and he's coming after him from the garbage truck, and they can't get out. And then all of a sudden, the door just opens, and they can get out. Are you stupid? Do you know how to use handles? What was going on there? Super weird. Anyway, my win started off with the one, the only, Stephanie McMahon. The bitch is back. I can only classify Stephanie McMahon as one thing. That's the love of my life. I'm obsessed with her. It's a little unhealthy. Anyway, I'm glad she's back on my TV, and I'm really glad that they're doing stuff with her and Kurt Angle, because they've always had some great on-screen chemistry together. She tells Kurt, you know what, you've been doing a great job, bang up stuff up until this point when you let Shane take Raw under siege. And you know what, you're going to have to redeem yourself, and you can do it by being team captain of Raw at Survivor Series. And she says she expects results, or else she's going to have to start looking for a new general manager. And she tells Kurt, you know what, you don't believe me? Ask Mick Foley. She's just so good at being bad. Nia Jax returned this week. I guess they worked things out. I'm glad to see that she decided to come back, although I'm still a little iffy on the whole situation. I don't really like what they said happened with her, but you know what? Rumors are rumors, and I'm just glad to see her back on TV, and she is now being part of the Raw team for Survivor Series. She was named first pick by team captain Alicia Fox. And then Samoa Joe returned. It was truly a night of returns over on Raw this week. He took out Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews, showing that he is still a force to be reckoned with. Kurt Angle announces that Mickie James versus Alexa Bliss will be the main event of Raw this week. I'm always glad to see the women in the main event, even if they technically ended up not really closing the show. But that's another story. Just excited to see the women get this opportunity. And Finn Balor was one for me when he got a major victory over Cesaro. But his redemption was kind of short-lived. It's kind of the whole one step forward, two steps back kind of thing, because then he got totally obliterated by Kane again. Although I'm glad to say he wasn't the only one this week. It made him look a little better, in my opinion, that, they also got Seth Rollins and stuff. So, yeah, hopefully there's going to be a big payoff for Finn Balor coming out of this whole thing with Kane. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson were a win for me this week when they dressed up as Chad Too Bad and Tex Ferguson from Southpaw Regional Wrestling. If you have not watched the Southpaw Regional Wrestling series, I'm sure I've said it before, but go ahead and watch it. I just crack up at it, and Tex Ferguson is the best part. So I was pretty excited to see them wrestle in their characters this week. Also, they had the match against Heath Slater and Rhino, who were dressed up as Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. Rhino had makeup and everything. It was just hilarious. It was a really stupid match, but I enjoyed the costumes nonetheless. My next win was Alexa Bliss retaining her championship against Mickie James in the main event, and I also want to have a little shout out to her for being dressed up as Chucky during her entrance. She had a good gal doll outfit on. Loved it. And I also like The Miz having a Stranger Things reference. He's trying to get the hell out of Dodge. He's trying to leave Raw, and he's like, I refuse to let that Demogorgon take me to the Upside Down. And lots of Stranger Things stuff going on this week. Yeah. That's all I got, you guys. So please check back soon for more Vera's View. I'm Vera for the WWFU Internetwork.